Let me start by saying my frustration isn't with Brandon Pikey himself. I actually like Pikey as a player. The problem is more about how he's been used, or rather misused, on this Warriors team. He's often been slotted as a starter, partly because there hasn't been a better option around him, but that role doesn't seem to suit him well. It reminds me of past baseball lineups with players like Yasiel Puig or Benji Molina being placed in spots where they struggled to thrive. Puig, for example, is a great player, but when asked to anchor the lineup at 3 or 4 in the batting order consistently, it just didn't fit. Similarly, Podziemski is a good player, but as a primary starter and the second guard playing heavy minutes alongside Steph Curry, he's out of his ideal element. Pikey's game, as I see it, fits better coming off the bench, more of a backup point guard role rather than a 30-plus minute a night starter. Over the last couple of years, he's often been asked to be the starting two guard, and that hasn't worked well. He doesn't have the skill set to carry that responsibility consistently. And this isn't a knock on him personally. It's a matter of fit and role. This became very apparent during the recent playoff series, where we saw Warriors head coach Steve Kerr visibly frustrated with Podziemski during a game. There was a moment when Podziemski was caught in midair, turning the ball over, and Kerr was clearly upset. Kerr's message was simple but stern. Be more decisive. In the playoffs, hesitation can cost you dearly. Kerr later talked about how Pocky hesitated to shoot enough, even though he finished the game 4 for 6 from three-point range. Kerr urged him to stop passing up shots, stressing the importance of confidence and decisiveness in the postseason. The playoffs are a mental game. Pressure builds, defenses adjust, and confidence can quickly erode. Kerr acknowledged this, noting he's been through it as a player and praised Pikey for finishing strong in the series, despite the challenges. He hopes Pikey can continue to grow and eventually become a reliable starter, but right now, Kerr sees him more as a player still developing. That said, the Warriors management seems to be betting heavily on Pikey as part of their future, which is a risky gamble. They've invested significant time and resources into his development. I hope it pays off because it's a big bet on a player who hasn't yet fully proven himself at the highest level. Fans, however, are understandably impatient. Many want to see immediate impact, not extended developmental phases, especially with Steph Curry's prime years possibly winding down. Speaking of fans, many are frustrated by the ongoing development narrative surrounding Pikey and others. The team has made it clear they're not here for prolonged rebuilding. They want to contend now. This explains why players like Jonathan Kuminga have been benched more often than not, and why Wiseman was traded. The focus is on winning, not experiments. KC from San Jose called in with a strong opinion about the team's defensive struggles, particularly regarding the Warriors' inability to contain Julius Randle during the playoff series against Minnesota. Casey pointed out that Randle's success wasn't just about his offense, it was that the Warriors couldn't apply enough defensive pressure on him. Without Steph Curry's offensive gravity to tire out opposing players, defenders like Draymond Green have a much harder time containing their assignments. Randle was fresh and able to attack freely because the Warriors' defense was not up to the task. KC admitted frustration with Draymond Green as well, saying if Draymond called him over to help pack and relocate, he'd be ready to assist. That's how fed up he's been with Draymond's performance over the last 5 to 10 years. Still, KC stressed that the main problem was a lack of defensive help around him and Steph. The Warriors need a perimeter defender who can start alongside Curry, capable of guarding elite scorers. Without that, they're at a major disadvantage. Another caller, Miles, echoed similar concerns, highlighting the team's deficiencies in player performance, injuries, coaching decisions, and roster construction. He pointed out that since the Warriors last won a title 3 seasons ago, more players have left than been added, leaving the team weaker overall. While Curry and Jordan Poole remain cornerstones, the supporting cast is lacking both offensively and defensively. Miles emphasized that while the offense gets a lot of attention, defense is equally critical, and that's where the Warriors must improve. He argued for acquiring both a perimeter defensive stopper who can start at the two-guard position and a rim protector. These two needs are equally important if the Warriors want to compete at a high level. When discussing Poole, Miles admitted he's a good player who is still developing confidence, but that development is not the priority right now. Deck team.